Hey guys, this is John with Source and Scale, and this video is in response to Chris from Daily Refinement's video that I saw today, and regarding eBay's item not as described penalty that they have going on now. I'm going to show you what I've got going. I got something similar going on here. I'm in the very high category also, and Chris and I sell very similar items. You can see clothing, shoes, and accessories. And I'm at 2.44, so I'm not quite as high as you, Chris, but I'm pretty close. A lot of item is not as described, 14, and this is from a period of June 1st of 2018 through February. I guess this is the projected rate, June 1st all the way to March 31st. So I guess this metric is going to be the projected metric. So I'm also in the high category. Now with used shoes and clothing and things like that, it's easy to find something wrong with either the listing or with the item. And if you want to avoid paying shipping to send it back, then you're going to put in an item not as described. And I think a lot of buyers might be becoming aware that the sellers don't have a whole lot of support from eBay these days. In fact, I don't even fight any returns anymore, even when I'm probably in the right, just because the risk is too high. Because if you fail and they side with the seller, it's going to be a ding on your account, and ultimately it could knock you out of top rated and eventually cost you a lot of money. So even if I'm in the right, which is a lot of times, I just don't really fight it. Now, Don, the auction professor, he was talking about if you have free shipping and free returns, that if you have an item not as described, that you would be covered by eBay and you could get it removed. And I guess maybe there's a process you could go through to contact them. But I want to say this: if it's a 4% penalty, this is very significant for anyone who has very small margins in their selling. So this is really something that I've kind of been careful of, is keeping my margins as high as possible, trying to sell high and buy low. And if you're playing the shoe game or whatever game you might be playing where you've got a very small margin, if you have a 5 or 6% margin, and you fall into this category of not as described, there goes all of your profit. It's all going to go to eBay. So I would encourage you guys, we do want to increase our ASP over time, and just because it's less items to process over time. But you want to also focus on your margins as well. So you want to keep a good, healthy margin going on in eBay. And, going out to the Nike outlet and buying a shoe that you pay $120 for to sell for $150, I mean, you can sell it fast, but it's a very tight margin. And if you mess up anything in your process as far as listing goes, or if they just decide they don't want to pay shipping to send it back to you, you're going to have to fight it with eBay, and you run the risk of losing the case, and your seller metrics is going to suffer as a result of it. Realize that it only takes a couple of dings on your account before you lose top-rated selling. I mean, it's 0.5% of your items. If you have 2 items, in my case, if I have two items not as described, and I fight them and I lose, I would literally lose my top-rated seller with only 2 items. So be aware of this. If your margins are very, very slim, eBay is finding ways to take more and more money out of the seller's pocket. I'm looking at promoted listings right now. I'm noticing more and more of my items are selling through promoted listings and not selling just naturally. This tells me that most likely your regular listings are getting pushed down in the listing and the search results. as a result, and they're prioritizing more of these promoted listing sales because it puts more money in their pocket. So eBay's finding more and more ways to increase their profit by taking it out of the seller's pocket, and they're going to leave you out in the cold if you try to fight a case against a buyer. So be aware of this. Keep your margins nice and healthy. I don't like to have a margin that's less than 30%, and I'd prefer to have more of a 50-60% margin if possible. So not only focus on your ASP, focus on your margin. Now, if you're buying an item for $1 and selling it for 10, that's a very high margin. You're going to be processing a lot more items to make a decent profit and ultimately to be making a living, but your margin's very healthy. So ultimately, to keep those margins high, you're just going to have to crank through a lot of products. So this does make us work harder as eBay sellers, but it's the only way to protect us against all of the fees and the promoted listings and the things that eBay is doing to try to increase their profitability on the backs of the sellers. So be aware of that. Keep your margins healthy because it's only going to get worse at this point. All right, that's all I have to say. Have a good one. If you like this video, please like it down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Give me your feedback, and let's have a discussion about it. And if you want to see more of these videos, hit the bell button to receive more of the videos coming soon. And I'll talk to you in the next video. Take care.